So in this video, I want to spend some time informing you on how to make some corrections to the student's knowledge path. So this was a class in which a student had queried a question and was actually correct. There had been a system error and an incorrect response was marked as correct. So let me just show you some details. Let me jump in. So let me scroll down. All right. So we had an individual student who queried a question. The instructor gave the appropriate feedback and gave credit for the question. But then the question became, of the other students in my class, did anyone else also get this correct and was marked incorrect? Now this is where I'm going to have to give you a little bit of bad news, which is to say there's not an easy answer for how this is done. So I do have to show the student names, and I apologize, we'll keep this off the internet. But what you want to do is take a look at the question and you go, well, how do I know what the question is? You actually have to look at it. So now I know the question is this. The correct answer was marked this, which is incorrect, but the student answered it correct, so 5 and 6. So if any student selected 5 and 6 to this question, you need to mark them correct. So once again, how does this happen? And I go back. So here's an incorrect response from a student. So let's take a look at it. Okay, different question. So let's close that. Same student, incorrect, different question. Okay, we're going to close that. Different student, incorrect. Let's take a look. Okay, now the student answered 4 and 5, and that was actually not the correct response. So the student got it wrong, which is correct to have received an incorrect score on that. So this is a student, we know she queried it and it was marked correct. Let's keep going, and that's it. So the benefit in this class, there's not a lot of students. What you need to do though is to take a look at the queried question. So you want to look at the question that the student had queried. That shows up in your to-do tab, remember. So once you've looked at that as the instructor and deemed whether that is correct or incorrect, if you believe it is correct and you give that student credit, and then you want to do the extra effort, which you should do, of finding out if anyone else in your class may have answered that same, given that same response, you need to then look at the incorrect responses. And the only way you can do that is by looking at the actual question, determining if that is the question that was marked incorrect in error. And if so, then you can give credit. So let me just use this as an example, and let's pretend this top one was the same example. All you do right here is you click mark correct. So I'm not going to do that here because it is not correct, but that is what you would do. And so you do need to look at each question for each student that is marked incorrect when a student has queried it and it has been corrected. So important things are, number one, student queries it and you agree it's correct. You need to put in a help desk ticket to online support and let them know exactly where you are. So we're talking week 5, security versus liberty. We're talking about World War II, internment. And then let them know the context of the question. So once again, we have the option of clicking here. We can just do a copy and paste. We could do a screenshot, some information like that that will help the instructional design team to make the appropriate correction. Then once they've let you know that you've corrected, that they have corrected it, you want to go back in and look at all your students and see on the incorrect responses whether they were actually correct in their selections, and if so, be sure to mark them correct. All right, thank you so much for your time, and I hope this helps.